The Tim and Tony podcast is brought to you by Tim. Why do you use Bucked Up?
Because Tony, everybody needs a little help in their life. I found out a few years ago that I needed that extra push to actually do my workouts at the level that I wanted to be doing them at, and to get the results that I wanted to out of working out. And so, one of the most frustrating things is when you're hitting the gym as hard as your body will allow you to, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. These supplements will really help you get to that next level, get to that next step, and push you to hopefully reach your goals. So that's why I use it.
Bucked Up. It tastes fantastic and it helps you work out. Get it, use it. We have a promo code, right?
We do. Promo code, very easy to remember. It's T and T20. Get 20% off your Bucked Up order. They have supplements, every single one you can think of, shirts, hats, fucking joggers, anything you could possibly want. They've got it.
TNT joggers.
TNT 20. Get 20% off your entire order today online, buckedup.com.
TANDT 20.
Tony, before we had this podcast and we received this next wonderful sponsor, we both struggled with our fashion game, specifically and especially our gym fashion game, which is an underrated part of going to the gym.
Yes.
So please tell the people how they can get more excited about going to the gym and what company they can go to buy some stuff that'll make them feel better.
So what's great is, wow, interesting. We're keeping that in. So all you got to do is go to titlewear.com, because what you're going to find there is you're going to find some of the most comfortable and flattering, might I add, gym wear on the market. They got they got hoodies, they got sleeveless hoodies, they got tank tops, they got t-shirts, they got shorts, they've got compression pants, and they've got sports bras, they've got leggings, they've got all of it. It's fantastic. The quality is amazing. It's made for workouts, so they're durable, and it's just plain comfortable. So, Tim, what's that promo code?
Very easy to remember. It is T and T15. That's TAND T15. That's 15% off your entire order. You can order one thing. You can order 13 things. You can order 100 fucking things. It's 15% off the entire order at title.com.
And if you want to order 100 fucking things, you do it, and you do it with the promo code TANDT15. Tim, do you care about sustainability?
I do.
Do you care about comfort?
I very much do.
Do you care about style?
A little bit.
Do you care about just looking good?
I really do. I really do care about all those things. I didn't mean to put sustainability. It feels like I put sustainability a little lower on that list than I should have.
It
but I care
sounded
about
like
those things deeply.
And in fact, sustainability is actually one of the best parts about what I'm about to talk about. Allbirds, they make incredible shoes. They make incredible clothing. They make incredible socks. Tell us about it, Tim.
Welcome to the program, Allbirds. We're happy to have you on board.
Absolutely.
These are, no exaggeration, the most comfortable fucking shoes I've ever worn in my entire life.
And you don't have to just wear them when you're having sex.
That's right. That's right. I can't believe we just put that in an ad. They look great. They feel better, and they're good for the planet. This is a little bit different than we've done in the other ones. We're going to attach the link to go to Allbirds, where you can pick up not only a pair of shoes, a shirt. They're making joggers. They've got shorts, whatever you want. You buy anything on the store, you get a free pair of socks with it on us. If you do go to the store and buy some Allbirds, please use the link that's in the description of this podcast.
Yes, and they don't do deals like this. This is like the only one out there. Like, this is the one deal. So that's what we're bringing to you guys. You should do it. Get the stuff because it's a great company and they make great stuff.
So, Tony, President Biden has canceled student debt for the next 5 months.
Oh, okay.
What are you going to do with the extra dough?
Extra.
Yeah, with all that extra cash that's just rolling through over there.
That's assuming a lot. That instead of me just going further into debt, that I'm actually gaining money out of this somehow. Really, I think it's less than I'm gaining money than just taking one more stressor off the plate. So I can, get much more, because you know how, like, for Thanksgiving, you got to be able to proportion your plate correctly so you get all the stuff that you want. For this now, instead of, having to put ham and turkey and like some casseroles and some rolls and stuff, like now I'm not having to get any casserole. Like that's just ham and turkey now. So now instead of stressing about student loans, now I can just stress about the bar. I can stress about, normal existential stressors that I have on a daily basis. So in that regard, it's great. But no, I don't really have much money to speak of regardless. So
yeah, I mean, my thought was what I was going to do with the extra money is I was going to go to like rural small towns where Fox News goes into the grocery store and shows the empty shelves. Sure. I was just going to buy fucking everything. I was just going to buy everything off the shelves and I was going to sell it in the parking lot for a 10% raise and teach the conservatives about inflation.
Teach them about the free market.
Yeah, just a little free market capitalism.
How the invisible
go buy everything.
How the invisible hand is purely just a middle finger.
Yeah, I think that would be good for them if I took it and then sold it to them at a 10% markup.
God,
and they could see the free market at work.
You're in a dark place, Tim.
I really am. Elvis Monroe, play us in.
In a crowded room, somewhere in town.
All right, now that waste of time is over. Our cold opens are terrible. Like, they're really terrible. Like, somebody should put some more thought.
Somebody.
I don't know who like our writer's room is, but there just needs to be some extra thought put into this, guys.
Somebody needs to put some extra thought to this. I'm interested as to who you think the somebody is. That's interesting.
I don't know. Somebody does. Somebody needs to put some more goddamn thought in this because this is awful.
Anyways, I hate you. So we're here to talk about what movie today, Tim?
We're here to talk about the much maligned Don't Look Up.
Yeah, which, by the way, I'm just here to say, I don't know if I can say in a sentence what my reaction was after the movie relevant to the criticism of the movie. Just inaccurate. It's just inaccurate.
Here's my take on this.
And if I can get you to like take the microphone maybe like 2 or 3 inches away from your face, which there's a lot of jokes I could do with that, but go ahead.
Here's my take on this. About 50% of the country is conservative. About 50% is liberal.
Right.
The Rotten Tomatoes score currently sits at 54%.
Yes.
Hollywood and the media tend to skew a couple percentage points liberal. I think if you have any conservative leanings, or if you're one of those media darlings who is socially liberal and fiscally conservative, which has become very, very popular recently.
Also known as you vote third party, and
also known as you're Joe Rogan, and anytime any issue comes up, you take the conservative approach. But you're somehow liberal socially.
Well, and you're neither Democrat nor Republican. So when that conversation gets started, well, I'm neither.
Right. But you 100% of the time support Republican politicians and their
Right.
policies. Yeah. So that's my take on it, is that this is a very harsh, it doesn't pull any punches whatsoever. It is the conservative fever dream of Hollywood elites that they detest, making fun of them for 2.5 hours, and how fucking frustratingly stupid it is, some of the debates that we have. The movie's about climate change. You could insert literally anything in place of that comment. And I think it would work just as well. And I think, honestly, I think the president might be Joe Manchin. I think she's Joe Manchin with like a Trumpy kind of vibe, but I think she's really Joe Manchin.
See, I was getting more of like obviously, since, Meryl Streep was playing the president, so it was a female president. So obviously I'm going to think of other women in politics, but I was getting enormous Sarah Palin vibes. Just
there was
pouring
some of that.
The cup pour thing over with Sarah Palin vibes.
There was some of that, but the reason that I say Manchin is because she kind of pretends to know what the right thing is, and then she still does the opposite anyways. Which in my opinion is a lot different than Trump, who I think is most times too stupid to know what the right thing is to do or how to accomplish anything in life, because he's a trust fund brat who is a complete and utter loser, has been his entire life. So with Streep in her character, not to step on what we're going to be talking about, a lot of Joe Manchin vibes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hold that. So the movie starts. We got Jennifer Lawrence looking at a telescope, and she discovers a comet. She loses her mind, tells her professor or supervisor, professor, Leonardo DiCaprio. And then they have a party, and you cue Leo and you cue Right Thur by Chingy, which was, I did not expect at all nerdy Leo jamming out to Right Thur. I didn't.
It made sense. He also got nice and plump for this movie, which I appreciated.
He did.
It was the return of Fat Leo, which, as you know, is one of my favorite versions of Leo, when he just embraces his dad bod fully.
That was one of my favorite parts of Entourage, which, I know it says a lot of negative things about me that I like the show, but there's one part where Vince, the main character, gets a gut, and it's kind of a joke throughout the whole show that he's not in all that great of shape. But there's one scene on the beach where I swear to God, he looks exactly like Leonardo DiCaprio, and it makes me laugh. So anyways, when's the last time we got nerdy Leo? Because we kind of got him for a moment in Catch Me If You Can when he's playing the doctor, but even then he's pretty charismatic.
You mean a not polished Leo?
Yeah,
like he is for the first half hour,
right?
I mean, you'd probably have to go back to Shutter Island, to where he's he's just not, he doesn't walk into a room and instantly captivate people, which obviously he eventually turns into in this movie, which is kind of the joke, right? Which is part of the joke anyways, that he can't speak for the first half of the movie. He's popping Xanax to get through.
Well, trying to. Getting intercepted half the time, but yes. So then we get Jennifer Lawrence. So they see this comet. They're like, we need to tell some people because we're doing calculations, and we just calculated out 90 times and realized that it is heading for Earth, and we're pretty confident that it's exactly where it's heading.
The mathematical certainty.
Yes. So they get taken to the White House, where Jennifer Lawrence has the really only correct response: I gotta get high.
Mm.
Because
I
that's going to be
appreciated
that's going to be the only way that she's going to be able to get through this is if she just like takes a beat. Takes a beat, and before they get to the White House, she starts smoking weed on a military cargo ship, which neither of us have been in the military, but since it's still federally not legal, that is a big, I would imagine, a huge no. I'm assuming it's a huge no to smoke anything on a military cargo ship, but
Probably now. I would guess that now you can't do that. Obvious. Jennifer Lawrence's character in this
incredible
movie, I love it. Like I love her so much in this role, in this kind of like antisocial. What the fuck is going on here? Am I the only one seeing this?
Right.
Role. I enjoyed that from her because the impression that I have always gotten from her is that she is a little, I just want to be loved by everybody.
Really? You get that vibe?
I've never gotten the feeling that she's been willing to take with her roles that she's picked in the past. I don't see a lot of chances being taken with those roles. I see a lot of
Silver Linings Playbook.
What was risky about that? That movie bored me to tears, by the way. That was like, seriously, that was one of the worst movies of that year. I can't that movie actually upset me because of how just horribly boring it was.
Okay, well then that makes sense as to why you don't think it was all that challenging of a role because you means you didn't think anything happened.
Yeah, I was just bored the entire time. I think that was one of the ones that I actually turned it off midway and I had to finish it later because it was killing me.
I mean, Passengers, not a big Passengers head. Love that
Passengers. Movie. You think that's a risky role? a big budget action hero alongside Chris Pratt? No,
absolutely.
So I enjoyed the fact that she was willing to embrace a role like this. I appreciated that Leo was willing to be in it, even though I know his character makes it clear many times what Leo has always said, because this is what I actually believe about him is he's like, I really don't care about sides. Leo has always hinted that he leans a little bit more conservatively in terms of economic policy and socially is very liberal, which is how most of Hollywood is, by the way.
Yeah, because they're all rich, but yeah. Anyways, this is going to be my first of my favorite part of the pods that I do when I ask you. This is when I say this is the most important question that I ask you. That's going to happen a couple times today. How long after the word of this type of comic gets out until CNN has an AR visual of the comet hitting Earth while Anderson Cooper is virtually standing on it and then the Earth explodes? How long? A day?
I mean, I think that there's that possibility that they would just be following. They would have a constant tracker on the bottom right with the
100%.
With the hundreds of miles that it is away from Earth,
and with the time.
But I think what would really happen is we would get a round table where we'd have two comet deniers and two look up and two look down people, if you will, which is how most of their climate change coverage has been over the years.
So I can already kind of see the table filling itself out in my brain right now. Rick Santorum's definitely there.
Yeah, because people like yelling at Rick Santorum.
Neil deGrasse.
I probably would like it too.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is definitely there. Bill Nye is there, and then
Donald Trump Jr.
See, I was gonna go more the Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil route.
Yeah, no, actually makes sense. Probably Dr. Oz.
Yeah. And then Fareed Zakaria to really round out the group.
Right. There'd be two lookups, two look downs, and at the end of it, we'd go, well, there you have it, folks. Guess it's a matter of opinion.
And then we have John King over at a board, touching shit and just blowing out. Well, so, okay, this is what happens if the comet's this big. This is what happens if the comet's this big. And it's just an overall waste of time. So then we get Jennifer Lawrence throwing up outside the oval. Again, the correct response to what they're about to do. Initially, when I was watching this movie at this point in the movie, I was gonna ask, because I thought it was just gonna be a passing mention that they were talking about Supreme Court nominees. I was gonna originally ask you, what type of person do you think this Meryl Streep character would nominate? Then it becomes a very, very big point of the plot as to who the nominee is. And
this was like my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
Was how far they were willing to go with this.
Yeah.
Because it was, we've really gotten to a point with the Supreme Court in general where I'm just kind of desensitized to garbage.
Yeah.
So they just went all the way, and we're like, he's a former porn star.
Hold on,
a lawyer.
So he's a sheriff with no law degree and a shoot first, ask questions later policy, and has a nude model wife. And then it later comes out that he himself is also an adult film. I hesitate to say star, but in that field of work.
In all seriousness, like Amy Coney Barrett had never tried a case. She was never really a lawyer. She was mostly just a law professor. She was a judge for like, I think 9 months before she was promoted to the Supreme Court. Like, I know it's funny, the whole like porn star thing, / he doesn't have a law degree. Amy Coney Barrett was barely a lawyer. She was a professor. She was not a judge. She sure as shit wasn't a judge for very long. Like, we got to this point where it was, are you healthy? Are you young? And are you a part of Federalist Society, which is a conservative legal group?
Check.
And that was all that really mattered. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's funny, but we're actually not that far off. Like, would it shock you? Didn't Ben Shapiro go to law school? Like, would it shock you?
He went to Harvard.
It was law school, right? It wasn't like Harvard undergrad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, he did the whole thing where he would bring, if he went to a party, he would bring his books in case in case the people he was talking to weren't interesting enough. He'd go sit in the corner and do his reading.
That's that asshole. Yeah. Like, would it shock you if he got nominated?
No.
If Trump? No, it wouldn't. So, I mean, it's funny, but it's simultaneously horrifying because it would be a big story, but it's at this point in what I've seen over the last like 7 years, it probably wouldn't even bug me that much. It would just be like, oh yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. So they're sitting there, right? And Jonah Hill makes his entrance into the movie by poking his head out and saying, yeah, we're discussing our Supreme Court nominee. You need to give us a second. I
love Jonah in that role.
We'll definitely, we're going to be talking about him a lot. But we get that he closes the door. Then we hear them singing Happy Birthday. We hear them doing various things that don't really seem to rise to the level of apocalyptic comet. But they make them sit there all day. The general sells them free snacks. And that joke comes back plenty of times.
Multiple times.
Which
it's the kind of thing that would bug me for like the rest of my life. So I'm glad it bugged J-Law for at least the next 6 months of this movie.
And every like down second that she has, just like, did he not think that I wouldn't figure out? Like, does he not have enough money? Like, what's going on here? Was it just a power move? Like, I don't know. Ultimately, we get that the general ends up getting a call that he has to leave for.
Yep.
He has to go to Okinawa to quell the natives. That's code for kill the natives, right?
Yes. 100%. Like, again, this movie is funny in that it rings darkly accurate at a lot of places. But yes, that is 100% what they were referring to.
I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. So they discovered an extinction level event, and they're just sitting there for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then are told, hey, we're not going to be able to fit you in tonight. We're going to go send you to this just janky ass motel somewhere in not a nice part of DC, which for those of you that don't know, there's the nice part of DC, and then the rest of it is just awful. They seem to be in the awful portion.
Very small place, by the way, DC. A lot smaller than people realize.
Yeah. Then we see Jennifer Lawrence's character stealing the Xanax. That's the first time. And he's Leo's talking about how like, oh yeah, I only cut it in fourths, and Joe just popping it like candy. So then we get Jennifer Lawrence talking to her significant other at the time. You're an English major, Tim?
Yeah.
Do you think noticeably aroused or noticeably engorged is less clickbaity?
I'm going to say noticeably aroused because engorged is something I would say to prove a point and make it funny.
And there's certain people that be like, what the hell does he mean by that? So then they click on it and find out that you don't actually have a story. So yeah, I think we agree on that one. So then we get the call with Leo's family. And this kid got a 172.
Yeah, I thought you were going to enjoy this.
Good for him. Tell your kid that there's a comet coming to Earth. Don't spend your
Stop
last
studying for the LSAT.
Don't
go to law school.
don't spend the last 6 months of your life going through law admissions. Just don't. It's hell. It's hell on earth. And God forbid you like took the test right before the like application period ends and you'd have to like start law school. Absolutely not. That I mean that alone made me pissed off at Leo to not just be, hey, buddy, so here's what's going on, man. We're all gonna die in 6 months. Like, cool. You like now we all know that's what you're capable of. Go do something else. Like we have enough money to last all of us for 6 months. Don't get a job. Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Like, anything outside of that is just a waste of time.
Get out of the country.
Yeah. Just figure out something. You're young. Go experience life. Your mom and I are just going to hang out. Like, go do something. Go do something with your life. They ask him how the meds are. I'm a solid 4. Oh, okay. Well, that's better than what it was before. So that's good.
Yeah. Seems good.
Then we cut back to the Jennifer Lawrence conversation. Yeah. So can I have lunch with your mom in like 7 months? That is an oddly specific and far off time. You're not wrong, but that's exactly how I would start making life decisions at that point. That is exact. Just let's do it in 7 months. It's like when you get to what we just all experienced. When you get to the end of the calendar year, and everyone's just like, yeah, let's just deal with that in the new year. Let's just let's punt it.
A lot of things get pushed.
Yeah, I'll give you a call in a couple weeks, and we'll sort it out.
Right.
So then we get really formally introduced to Jonah Hill and his character, and then we again get formally introduced to his mom, the president. Jonah Hill decides to play basically the White House aide version of Donnie. It's basically what he brought to the table. Just a shithead.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this because I think because I've listened, for some reason, Jonah Hill pops up on a lot of podcasts that I listen to.
Oh.
And I've heard him talk a lot about how what upsets him about Wolf of Wall Street is the level to which people don't understand what the fuck they were trying to say with it.
Well, and you and I both on and off air talk about this all the time. There's a certain subsection of people that love Wolf of Wall Street, which, by the way, we love Wolf of Wall Street, but there's a subsection of those people that think that it's a how-to guide, that think it's like this is how we did it, this is how you should do it. And then there's people like us that actually understand what they're trying to say. That's like, hey, a lot of crazy shit happened. This is not what you should do. This is a bad way to spend time.
What's wrong with the financial sector?
We all should have died and gone to jail for many prison for many years.
But ultimately, we were playing tennis in jail. Yeah. He's been really upfront with the fact that he hates when people come up to him and are like, "I love your movie. We fucking watch it before we do coke and go trade stocks." So he picked a role in this movie where there's no two interpretations of who they're making fun of what they're making fun of. Like, it is blatantly obvious. He is playing like a Jim Jordan, Marco Rubio type sycophant that is, he's got a lot of confidence in himself. I mean, my favorite line in the whole movie is "and us the cool rich," which was perfect. Like, I wish it would have come out a year ago, because this is the conversation we were having, which is like, liberals are so entitled. I'm like, you guys are literally running a trust fund multimillionaire. Like, really, we're the elites looking down on you. Like, oh no, those are the cool rich. Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
Meanwhile, we're running a guy that, last in his class at law school from Scranton, PA, and
that's why it didn't work.
Had a stutter when he was younger, so that's
why it didn't work. But it just, that line, like, I had to pause the movie. I was laughing so hard. It was like, those liberal elites are trying to keep you down and us, the cool rich. It was just, I loved it so much.
So that was later on in the movie. Where we are right now, we're seeing that Meryl Streep just couldn't give less of a shit about the comment. She cares only about midterms, which, by the way, this came out in a very solid time, because I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I started to get a headache. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We're about to get killed in the midterms. That sucks.
Yeah, I've had a constant headache since Virginia about that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like a little aneurysm that's growing slowly.
Yeah. And then, Meryl Streep just goes, man, the timing is just atrocious right now. Like, you can't be bringing this stuff up. And Jennifer Lawrence's character is just like, are you fucking kidding me? You're thinking about midterms. No. There's not going to be
go to school?
Midterms.
Michigan.
Huh? Oh,
State?
Michigan State. And then when they come back, they're like, yeah, we had some our people from like Harvard and Princeton look at it, and they actually agree with you. So now I'm going to take you seriously. But
wonderful.
It's just so weird to see uncharismatic Leo. It's so weird, because
it's weird, but it's funny. Like, it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah,
and it does work on that level, because
I'm glad it didn't last the whole movie.
Yeah, but when it gets weird is that, like, Leo's played roles where they just ignore that he's the best looking person by a million miles.
Right.
And I'm glad that wasn't just glossed over in this. Like, yeah, he's got a dad bod. He's still fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. And your wife would leave you if he so much as kind of nodded at her. Like, it wouldn't even really be a wink. It would just be kind of like this. She'd be gone.
He's not. Elf, I think, is how they ended up saying it. Astronomer, I'd like to fuck.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. When we get to the memification of Leo's star power later in the movie. So then we get introduced in a very, very, for specifically you and I, very funny scene. We get introduced to Sir Peter Isherwell.
So he's Elon Musk, right?
Okay, so my question was going to be, who is he?
I think he's Elon,
because
for this reason.
But the difference. Okay, go ahead.
He's Elon because Tesla is really the only company besides Apple that holds those types of presentations anymore. And he's Elon because this guy has no public speaking ability whatsoever and appears robotic. And look, before anybody jumps down my throat, I know Elon has a mental condition that prevents him from maybe being the best public speaker. I'm just saying, guy's not very interesting to listen to. Never found him that he's kind of awkward. He's very weird.
And he makes jokes about it. I'm pretty sure it was when they unveiled the Roadster. He was just like, and yeah, you guys don't want to listen to me, so why don't you just listen to this? And then they bring it out, and everyone goes nuts.
He's not a salesman. The weird moment in Elon's career to me was when they were releasing the Model 3 and this narrative that he was Steve Jobs reincarnate. And so they just put him on everything. They're like, we're going to let this guy speak all the time. And then that's where he started getting in trouble with the SEC because he's a genius. There's no question about it. He's not very socially advanced. Like, he doesn't understand people that well, as evidenced by the many employment lawsuits that are against him. He does not understand people very well.
Yeah. So here's my one argument against that he's Elon, which I think you're right holistically, but in the first moment that we get, I think he's supposed to be portrayed as if Steve Jobs got older and just got weird. Because
we got to the weird Jobs years.
Yeah, where Brady is now. If we got that similar stage of Steve Jobs, where he's so unbelievably wealthy and that's all he can remember in his life, that now he's just doing
stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, Tim Cook, I believe, just became a billionaire.
Congratulations, Tim.
In terms of his stock value. So
right.
I am expecting that we're getting near that with the current Apple CEO.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm pretty sure it was him even said my time is numbered.
He doesn't want to be there which I think is smart.
Yeah.
I think that all sports teams, all companies, all organizations, you need a change in voice at a certain point. You only have a certain amount of years before it starts, or you just have to clean house, which is what your football team has done repeatedly. You either clean everybody out of the building or you have to take the leader out, because at a certain point, people just start tuning the bullshit out.
Yeah. And we were going to do this bit when Jack Dorsey announced that he was going to step down, but I'll just do this real quick. You gotta, at some point now, when you're starting out, you need that visionary, you need the salesman, you need the person that has a passion for the company to propel it to a certain point. But there's a ceiling. There is a definitive ceiling for Steve Jobs, Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, for the people that created it, because it's your baby. And at some point, you're going to have to look at it differently than the thing that you created. Because at a certain point, Jobs, he could not detach the company from what it was when it was in his garage. And then he left, and then he came back. And only when he came back is when they really, 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 really got to the company that we know now. Yes. So it was a more refined Steve Jobs in a sense that he is now seeing other stuff. Whereas Jack Dorsey, Twitter's not really what it possibly could be, because they're just not diversified. They've just kind of been the same thing. They did fleets for a minute and then realized that didn't work. But Jack Dorsey didn't really change anything. Zuckerberg, I mean, allow me to be the first person to say this. Zuckerberg needs to be gone, just because they're just so stagnant. But again, their stock price keeps going up. So what do I know?
They don't, last thing on this, just because I have to get this out, is that one of the issues with, you said they can't ever see it beyond what it was in its startup phase. And that's really the issue with Facebook, is that they don't see, they're always the last ones to know about problems with their company, because they sincerely view themselves as this force for good in the world, because all they see it as is this beginning point where it was all upside, which is a lot like what TikTok was over the last year or two, where it just seems like such a positive environment.
Yeah.
And then as it grows, it turns into a breeding ground for terrorists. And it's like, okay, so and even worse than that, unfortunately, it's like, okay, so what do we do? How do we take responsibility for our algorithms pushing people to these really dark places on the internet? And it's like, and again, they're the last ones to know. So,
and this will be the last thing I say about it, and then we can, get back to the movie. But again, this movie lends itself to have a million actual real world conversations, because this entire movie is just a meditation on where we are currently politically. So, whatever. I hesitate to say that every company needs to find their Tim Cook, since that's, I think, completely oversimplified. And that's what you think they need to do? They need to find the guy that's going to bring that company to be the most cash rich entity in the world. Yeah, wow, that's a hot take. But you need to find someone that understands both where the company came from, but not so personally attached to it, where any criticism of the company, any criticism of the company then feels like a criticism of you, because that's what happened with Jack Dorsey. Every single interview that he would come on and do, anytime anybody had any criticism about that platform, he would get defensive and then just wouldn't answer the question, and then would want to just move on.
Human nature is understandable.
Yeah, which
on some level.
I don't know how I would react, but even when someone says something negative about this podcast, I get a little defensive, and it's just like, well, wait, but they're just telling you how they think. It doesn't really, they're a fan. Their opinion's going to matter more than yours about this thing, because ultimately they're the ones that you're hoping enjoy it. So then when someone comes in and gives you a critique about your social media platform, they're a user. So if they feel that way, you need to look at that as though it's much more important than someone some, you said the word earlier, sycophant, that's just a yes man, that's just telling you that yes, your idea is great, your direction for the company is exactly what we need. Your users are the most important part. The listeners to the pod are our most important thing. And so, when you look at stuff like that, and I'm not comparing this to Twitter, that's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is you have to get someone in there that's going to be able to make objective, dispassionate choices that are for the betterment of the company long term, which is why I think Twitter is going to be very interesting to see now that they're going to have someone new. Now, to quote, the feds will claim breach of security, so make sure these two get a pro bono attorney. Jesus, just throw them right under the fucking bus. So so they have this meeting. Leo and Jennifer Lawrence make the decision, like, okay, they don't give a shit about this. They're not going to do anything about this. They said that this was highly classified and we can't talk to anybody about this, but ultimately none of this is going to matter if we don't get the news out and we actually do something about it. So then they go to a, what, is not unambiguously CNN to tell them what's going on. And then they, they need a pro bono attorney. And by the way, there's great attorneys that do pro bono work. There's a lot of high-powered attorneys that do pro bono work. But to make the premise be that it's a free attorney, not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best.
It was funny. It got the point across as to what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. But, I mean, the show they go on.
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah. They're in the makeup room, and as Dr. Mindy Leo is talking to the makeup person, she's like, this person 100% needs media training. And at the time they brought Jennifer Lawrence on to be the person that could actually communicate. And then obviously it ends up flipping. This is when they get to the green room. This is when they meet, and we get introduced to Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi, and just the batshit insane relationship that is theirs.
I am so happy that she was willing to
Yes.
play a caricature of herself, because that is who that is.
Yeah.
She's not acting. She's just doing like what she actually does in real life, but like times a million.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And that actually takes a lot of balls. Like there's no other way to put it.
It's
like,
it's in the same
to come on something and basically play a parody of yourself. That's like, I give her a lot of props for that. Still don't listen to her music. It's just not for me. It's not written for me, by the way.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny, and I gained a lot of respect for being willing to take a role like that.
It's in the same vein as Ed Sheeran in Red Notice, except for Ariana Grande is in like a quarter of the movie, but it's in that same vein of like, I'm down. Like, yeah, what the hell do I care?
Yeah.
I
mean, it in a movie that, by the way, most people don't associate, I think, this type of movie with Ariana Grande, a political satire. So again, her being willing to do this,
it signals a lot of things.
I mean, you can say all you want. It's like, okay, by being in this movie, it's self-promotion, and it is all those things. I just said I gain more respect for her, and I don't even listen to her music, but I also think it's a risk. And there's a reason why Taylor Swift took so long to ever take a side on certain hot button issues. Republicans buy sneakers too. Republicans listen to Ariana Grande too. And for her to be in something like this, it's funny, but I also thought it was neat that she was willing to do it.
I can't imagine many hardcore Republicans are going to be seeing this movie. So
no, they're not, but just that she's in it. The fact that she's on, she's in the promotional stuff, I think will signal to a lot of them. But I think anytime someone's willing to put their neck out for something that they actually believe 100%. In, that this movie is funny, but it's also kind of important, because it's certainly about climate change, but it could be just as easily about vaccine denial over the last year. So, you're going to piss off a lot of people by doing something like this, and they successfully did that.
So we then get introduced to the lovely Cate Blanchett and the lovely Tyler Perry that are playing anchors on what I kept thinking was like, if whatever the opposite of Crossfire is, whatever the opposite of that show is, that's exactly what these two were doing on CNN.
Just bad morning TV.
Yeah.
They did a really good parody of one of those horrible morning shows that I've seen maybe 10 minutes total of in my life.
Right. And then we get Tyler Perry making the joke, and we get the comment to hit a specific house on the East Coast, my ex-wife's. Just of course that joke's in there.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Had a lot to say. Had a good point to make. Really use the airtime for good.
We just try to make things funnier.
Yeah. So the Leo character goes on there. He's freaking out, then gains strength from Jennifer Lawrence's character, just losing her shit. She just screaming at the top of her lungs because they're not taking this seriously, because I don't think that either of these people had seen the show, obviously, because that seems to be the worst possible show to go on and try and break, world changing apocalyptic.
By the way, I don't know who watches those shows in general. Like TMZ is still going. What's that horrible show on MTV with the guy in the hat? I'll think of it in like a second, but Punked? It's like one of these. I think it might be Punked. It's like one of these shows that's been going on for like 20 years. That it's got the same like group of people that are still involved with it.
Ridiculousness.
Yeah, that's the one. Like I don't know. I really don't know who's watching this.
It's the only show that runs on MTV now. I don't know if you know this, but I'm
not friends with people who watch this shit.
I'm convinced that Rob Dyrdek just like found some pictures of the higher ups at MTV and is just holding them hostage, because now it's no longer music television. It's just Rob Dyrdek television. So it's very funny.
Yeah. They're MySpace.
Yeah. So the Jennifer Lawrence memes that come out of this when they're sitting in the conference room and Leo's like, oh, that's just mean. That's just because he clearly has no idea what the internet is.
I want a shirt that has one of those memes.
Right.
Like, we're all going to die. I really want that. And I don't know. Like, I'll work on that. There's probably going to be a lot of copyright issues involved there, but
we'll figure it out.
Which is why I personally shouldn't do it, because I know better. But somebody out there should do it so that I can buy one.
Yeah, what we need to do is we need to establish the Tim and Tony Pod as just like an LLC or something, and then do it all through that, and then create like 19 shell companies, and we'll be fine.
Sell merch. That's what all the
exactly. Yeah. Oh, guys,
if podcasts are doing this day.
Yeah, if you think the ads at the beginning are going to be insufferable, just wait until we start selling merch. This is now when we get the astronomer I'd like to fuck. And that's when it starts to turn for good old Dr. Mindy. He starts to spread his wings and start to become media trained, as the movie put it. Jennifer Lawrence brings up the idea of putting the comet impact time on a diet app to have the exact countdown. I died laughing. That was perfect.
It is, and it's second only to her turn. One thing.
Yeah.
Her turn as like somebody who doesn't give a shit about anything and is just making out with like random like
whoa,
hanging out behind the dumpster. Like,
give Timothy Chalamet's respect.
That's funny, but the fact that she's working at a grocery store makes no sense to me. That's where they lost me. It's just like this person is just stealing food and not giving a shit about it. She's not working for $4 an hour.
We'll get there. The boyfriend, Himesh Patel, he writes a story just to make fun of her and to break up with her.
I slept with the work at a dye girl.
Yeah. It's perfect. And he's having like panic attacks on the sidewalk. Himesh Patel killed it. Then we get Leonardo DiCaprio, the internet troll. We see him in an at-home office, and he's just going away in what I would imagine is Twitter, in whatever that world is. I know they gave it a name. I don't remember what the name is.
That's what I was doing. That character was literally me for 2 months on my burner Twitter account, just firing shit off. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't believe the kind of shit that people are putting out there on Twitter. And every once in a while, I would realize too late that I had just commented on some bot that was literally designed to fuck with me.
To get you specifically pissed off.
But every once in a while, you do run into real people in that app who have very strong opinions.
Yeah.
They're very, very fucking stupid.
Yeah. The FBI rounds up all the parties. And then we get the quote from Jennifer Lawrence, delivered in just the perfect way possible. Now, unless you assholes are taking me to the Batcave, fuck you for putting this hood on me. It's a perfect line read from her. It is probably my favorite moment of the entire movie. It's just A+ level.
No, it's great because I think it's one of 3 times she gets thrown in the back of the car in the hood.
Yes. And it's especially impressive when you elicit a reaction that is so extreme when your literal face, the thing that is most useful for actors in conveying emotion and comedic expression and timing. The best one in the movie, you don't even see her face. I hope we get a million more Jennifer Lawrence movies with her being the lead. She's such a good actor.
She's good. She's had really funny, awkward moments in her acting career that get played a lot on YouTube to demonstrate that she is not a good actress. When she is willing, I hope that she is willing to take more chances and do roles like this one, but we'll see. Because these are not the roles that win you awards.
They're not. Though
make you a lot of money.
We do see Leo try to have an Oscar moment, but we'll get to it. We get the Meryl Streep. It was Winston Churchill that said, or no, was it Bobby Knight? It's like, oh, whoa, those are two different people.
Yeah, but that's tough because she actually seems smarter than the top 5 people who are going to run for the Republican nomination. Like I'd still, like if I had to choose between,
bring me down like that.
But that's what I mean is like she's funny and clearly a caricature, but I'd still probably prefer her over the top 5 challengers on the other side right now.
Think about her nominee to the Supreme Court, Tim.
Yeah, but so what? Like
so what? So what? He says Supreme Court. Who cares?
I don't know. I feel like Josh Hawley would nominate like the leader of QAnon or JFK Jr. or some weird shit to the Supreme Court.
But Josh Hawley isn't. He's basically just he's a louder Marco Rubio at this point, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if Trump doesn't run, basically, and it's any of the other ones, I'd still rather Meryl Streep. I'd still rather Meryl Streep's character 100%.
Did you just say if Donald Trump doesn't run?
Yes, that's why I said it's dependent on that. Because if he does run, it doesn't matter who the other people are.
Well, he is. Let me break this news to you, Tim. Donald Trump is running.
Oh wait, really? Is he? Motherfucker. I was literally trying to make a point that there's going to be other people running for president on the other side. Fuck.
Hopefully Chris Christie. The anesthesiologist who's I forget what her position is, but like disaster something or another chairman. The anesthesiologist takes the hit and she's like, yeah, I will very heartfelt resign tomorrow or release a press release. I'll take the hit. And then Jennifer Lawrence, well, that's weird. Well, that's a little odd. It's an odd moment.
I mean, we lived through it for 4 years. It was like something crazy would happen, and then the next day, oh, Anthony Scaramucci's resigned.
And then the next day, we're gonna send Ron Perlman into space to fight the comet, who we make 9 references to. He's just of a different generation. They keep the open mic as he's going up, and he's just saying all this,
spewing horrifically racist shit all the way up. Yeah.
Let's keep comms on mission. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I was talking about the Jews
for some reason,
and I blacked out.
For some reason, they broadcast that on worldwide television. But anyway,
we start stealing lines from Saving Private Ryan. That was a good moment. It was a really good moment. Okay, so now we're at the point of the movie where Leo, he's a charismatic scientist figure. Who is he? Because there's one answer for me, but who is he in your eyes? Oh, okay. Do tell.
And I mean that in a way you may not expect, not in a critical way. It is simply his rise and fall is very, very similar to what has happened to Dr. Fauci. He started out as a not very media trained, not very well spoken, but very intelligent doctor, rose to prominence. There was fucking children's books being written about him. At one point, his approval rating was over 90% in the country. And then the fall later on with the anti-vaxxers with some liberal pundits even questioning some of the advice that he has given. There's a rise and fall to him that's very similar to Leo's character, although I can't point to an instance where he kind of caved to corporate interest in the way that Leo eventually does.
And that's why my answer is Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, see, that feels mean.
How does that mean? Mean to who?
Feels mean.
To Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, I think it's a little
no.
mean.
So okay, perfectly benign, seemingly benign character. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I spent way too much time watching like these long YouTube. There's one episode of the Larry King Show. The Neil deGrasse Tyson came out and they're just like talking about black holes and shit. He's a very captivating and interesting person to listen to. Very weird dude, but very captivating and very charismatic. At a certain point, Neil deGrasse Tyson became aware of how much money he could start making if he sold out. And then he sold out. He started to write books. He started to host television shows. He started to do all that stuff. And he started, I don't know if he's gone on the Muppets, but I'm sure it's coming if he hasn't. And I'd be kind of surprised if he hasn't done like a little science lesson on Elmo's daytime show or something. The media stuff specifically is very similar. I think you're more on point with who they were background wise and like their sort of story arc. But as far as how Leo is portrayed in the media, I think it's closer to Neil deGrasse Tyson, but that's fine. Cate Blanchett comes from money, but you got 3 master's degree, Tim. Right. Name the first person that comes to your brain in your life that is like that. No, I'm just kidding. But we know people like this. Everyone's got that rich friend that has something to prove to everybody that they're hardworking, so they end up getting 9 different bachelor's degrees.
They're all useless.
Minors and whatever the hell. A lot of them tend to be in like, some sociology degree or say restaurant management or something like that. I don't know. But Ron Perlman wants to get he just wants to get the shit off the road. He just wants to get going. He doesn't want you to run tests. He doesn't want you to, double check stuff. He just wants to go. He wants to go. Right. He wants to serve his country, and he just wants to shoot the damn thing. So let's just get it going.
And I think that if they had made this movie maybe 6 months later, they would have made the Rockets look much more like dicks. But that's a separate issue.
I'd say they made them look enough like dicks.
Close, but they would have probably gotten a little more over.
They definitely would have done what Jon Stewart did in his like little teaser trailer for his new Apple show. More in that vein, where it's just like, no, that is a literal penis. It's not there's like it is a literal, like, anatomically speaking,
all the way making fun of Bezos.
100%. And I'd imagine that if Adam McKay were asked the question, is there anything that you would change about this movie given, the current political or, current events? I'd imagine on the top 3 answers, one of them would be, we needed to make the ships dicks. Need to.
It was funny enough that they made rocket ships turn around in midair. So I'll give them credit for that.
Yes. And before we get to the whole rocket turnaround thing, who do you think right now for the Biden administration is a Platinum Eagle level donor?
There is a fair amount of Goldman Sachs people around him, very similar to Obama.
Yep.
There is a fair amount of other investment bank types, oil tycoons, etc.
Soros obviously comes to mind.
But
the conservative boogeyman.
He's sort of a given.
Right.
with this stuff and
Right.
has been laying very low recently, although I don't believe that means that he is not involved. I think that you've got to go to somebody more who's trying to make a name for themselves, probably more of the investment bank types, which again have plagued Democrat politics for a long, long time, because the smart investment bankers have realized that the smart play isn't to go for the obvious choice, which is the Republican is going to lower your taxes. The smart choice is to appear progressive and say, yes, I believe that women should be able to get abortions, but if you touch my fucking tax rate, I will raise holy hell. And
then
it's
the
a
Democrat,
way,
and then there's more control, because then it's like, okay, if we can somehow figure out a way to even when a Democrat is in power and the taxes still don't go up, well, then the only thing that'll ever happen is my taxes will go down, or they'll stay the same. It's
much smarter to influence Democrats than Republicans, because you don't have to influence them. They've already got the message. They've got your check. It's been cashed.
Yeah. We get then my favorite Jonah Hill moment. Quote, Molly kicking in right now. Timed that shit perfectly.
I mean, Jonah's so wonderful. And again, I'm just glad that he finally got to play that same character.
Yeah.
That he did in Wall Street, but in an overtly, I am making fun of the Trump family over and over and over again way.
Yep. And it's not even ambiguous. There's no
ambiguity.
And I know that you keep making that point, but like, out of all the characters, there's one actor that clearly
wanted to do this.
Not only wanted to do it, but clearly sold or bought in so aggressively.
Yeah.
It's Jonah Hill. He's like, oh, what do you need me to do? I will do.
I'm ready to do it.
I will do whatever you want me to do, and I will go past it. And you tell me when I cross the line. You tell me when I go too far, because I'm going to try some shit.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of his stuff was improv. A lot of it was improv. Jennifer Lawrence.
It felt like a passion project for him.
Yes.
Like
yes.
we talk about this sometimes where people seem like they're in different movies. Jonah Hill doesn't seem like he's in a different movie. He just seems like he's having the most fun.
He seemed
any single one of them.
He seemed like he didn't work a day on set. It seemed like he was showing up and just.
I have some things I need to get off my chest here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what role he was in, by the way. When I saw that he was in this, I didn't even care. I didn't even look up what he was doing. Chief of staff, sure. Whatever role he was in, he was about to let it fly.
And then when I found out he was playing Meryl Streep's son, okay. So he's in the perfect mindset for this. He's willing to just be an absolute shithead. Perfect. So now Leo is a cabinet member, and Jennifer Lawrence is in a closet with, again, some of the free snacks. Which I believe that's like the third time that they bring it up. We then get the conversation where Peter Isherwell's there. We're gonna mine the comet. It's got 13,
I love that scene so much.
It's got 13 trillion or whatever the number was, some odd $1 trillion worth of value on it. We're not just going to let that go to waste, Tim. Not only are we going to try and save the Earth, but we're also going to try and mine the comet so that we can usher us into a new age. And that is when it clinched it for me. No, this isn't Steve Jobs. This is Elon Musk.
Has to be. And Jonah Hill's character making fun of the people. What if we die? We're going to be rich. He starts like high-fiving people and doing like the Donnie thing. It's hilarious. I mean, it's even funnier because it's very much like the scene in Vice where Dick Cheney says that they should all run out in the White House lawn naked and paint their pube hair or something. Or like, it's very much like that, where it's like he says it in a way that you're like, wow, this guy's really intelligent. Like, and that's Elon has this
Yeah.
trick, by the way, too,
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, he's really smart. He's really smart. Yeah, I bet he knows what he's talking about. But what he's suggesting is fucking insane. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Because what he's saying is basically for SpaceX, they're gonna go explode the comet into pieces, grab all the pieces, and mine it for the raw material in them. It's batshit. Like, they're trying it. If the only goal was to divert the comet, that's hard enough. That they don't even know how to do. But now, not only are we going to try and do that, but we're also going to try and make sure that we don't destroy the comet so that we can salvage the value from it.
What about the coal miners? Was what I thought instantly, because what had to be present in this movie was the counter argument to the climate change movement is now not so much. It's not real. Although Donald Trump and most of the top ranking Republicans still are on that side. The smart quote unquote argument has become, what about the jobs?
What about jobs?
What about the which is, by the way, many people say after Isherwell's proclamation of their new plan.
Yep. We'll get
Many
to
people, what about the jobs?
So Leo, Jennifer Lawrence, and I forget the third military guy that was with them for most of the movie. I forget his name. If we can get research on that, that would be fantastic. But I don't remember his name. But they all go to a bar, and Leo tells them the plan. Jennifer Lawrence loses her shit. Some other people at the bar overhear what they're talking about. They end up, being honest with the people at the bar, and then there is a riot, which results in Jennifer Lawrence getting the hood put on her yet again. And that brings us to what you were just talking about. Tim, are you pro comet jobs or anti-America?
I loved it because I was wondering, but my only criticism of this movie was going to be if they didn't go hard enough.
Yeah.
And they went as hard as you possibly could.
They leaned into we have to open the economy back up again. This is ridiculous.
Yes,
like,
they were using that argument again.
Yeah.
So my thing was, I appreciated that they were willing to criticize that aspect of this as well, because to their point, there's not going to be an economy. Motherfucker, like there's not going to be one.
You're worried about jobs. I'm worried about people dying.
You're worried about the next 6 months. I'm worried about the next millennium. Like that's always been the issue with climate change and some of these other issues, is that you're talking to people who are like, and again, most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We know this. It's a fact. Over three quarters of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And so it's understandable that this mindset of, how do I get to the end of the month?
Right.
How do I pay my rent this month? Is an effective anti-climate change argument, because it's like, look, climate change sounds good. Yes, we should build solar farms, but we shouldn't just completely give up our reliance on fossil fuels, plastics, and these other things. We shouldn't change our behavior overnight. What about all the people that'll lose jobs? It's like, okay, well, many people are going to die as well if we don't change. Like,
you know what type of person loses their job every single time this happens? Dead people.
Dead people.
Dead people lose their job 10 times out of 10.
Right. And so but again, we don't always see the argument that way, and places like CNN do give credence to this argument. I remember the 2020 election when Kamala Harris, now Vice President Harris, famously said, we are not getting rid of coal, our reliance on coal, over and over and over and over and over again. And Mike Pence kept trying to hang
and over and over and over.
We are not banning fracking. We are not banning fracking. We are not going to ban fracking. And the jokes are made on Twitter. It's like, yeah, we get it. You all love fracking because you're all trying to win this election and get Pennsylvania on board. Yeah,
and then the brief Twitter moment. Wait, what is fracking? Is this like a sex? Is this like a sex thing? What's fracking?
Yeah. So it reminded me of that. And I wish small criticism. I wish they would have gone a little bit more on both sides. Like I wish they would have had like the Meryl Streep opponent who is also like, this comet thing sounds bad.
Say
we're going to do both.
Say going to the Met Gala wearing a like $1 million dress that says tax the rich, maybe
something like that, or being like, we're going to blow up half the comet so that we don't die, and we're going to get the minerals from the other half. Like that would be the Democratic proposal.
That is 100% true.
Which it'd be like, wow, you're better than what they're saying, but we're still all going to die.
Okay. I want to end the pod right now because I am so mad that I did not have that take. That is exactly what we would do. That's exactly what we would do. Oh, that pains me. Oh, God.
It's like, well, I guess it's better. So I guess I'll go with your plan.
Oh, my God. Yeah. No, you're totally right. Because say if a Donald Trump is president, we're just going to listen to whatever the fuck these people say, and we're just going to go along with it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that sounds horrible. Can't do that.
The liberal response is, hey, we fought against them. We're, trying to do this, and this. But, hey, we're basically going to do what they said. But we didn't just lay down. We fought, and this is what we had to do to, get progress for the country. We're going to pass the infrastructure bill where you're going to build back better. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Oh. not part of the movie. We get introduced to Timothy Chalamet's character.
Yes.
I have a question for you, Tim. And I want you to think about it. Is this Timothy Chalamet's best role so far? I'm not being hot takey right now.
I know that you're not a big Call Me By Your Name guy. I know you're not a big Dune guy. For you, I don't blame you for saying this is your favorite role.
It's like it's there in Interstellar, basically, for me.
Interstellar,
where he's in the movie for like
he plays a kid for like 5 minutes.
He plays Casey Affleck as a child, as a teenager. Yeah. He plays Michael Caine's grandson, Michael Caine's grandson.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know that I can go completely sacrilegious because again, those two other movies are not my favorite. I like this movie much better, and that kind of clouds.
I'm not a cycling fan, so I didn't end up liking Call Me by Your Name all that much. Which for those of you that saw it, Chris, that's one of Chris's favorite movies ever. Thanks for listening.
Shout out, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for listening, producer Chris. But he's great. You want to talk about someone that was willing to just do whatever the hell was needed for the movie? Him and Jonah Hill were just ready. They
felt ready. It was this is the type of movie I've been looking for.
They're ready
for a long time.
Jennifer Lawrence exceeded what was required of her. Like she was very overqualified for that role, killed it, was perfect. Was more than Adam McKay could have hoped for out of that role. But Jonah Hill and Timothy Chalamet, that was their role. Nobody else could have played those parts. I think
it was their passion project.
I think multiple people could have played the Jennifer Lawrence part, though I don't think anybody could have played it as well as Jennifer Lawrence. I don't think it would have made sense if anybody but Jonah Hill and Timothy Chalamet were in those roles, especially with all the comparisons between Timothy Chalamet and Leo. It just made sense.
And again, this is the issue. It made sense that Leo was in the role he was into because this is like Leo cares about two things.
That's who he is. This is who he is. In
three things.
Oh boy.
Dating models that are under 25.
Younger,
making movies, and climate change.
Yes,
that's it. That's like what this guy. He wakes up in the morning and he wants to do one of those three things. So again, it was this movie for Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, and for Leo. really felt like this was their passion project. Like this was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
what my life's been building to.
Right.
It's this moment right here.
So yeah, and since we didn't actually say what Timothy Chalamet was doing in this movie, when we first see him, he's in a supermarket, and then he ends up stealing from Jennifer Lawrence. Timothy Chalamet then asks Jennifer Lawrence to go hang out with them. They end up being together. You know,
Yeah, see, that makes sense. The
Yeah.
supermarket thing, I can't get behind that. Her character's not working in a supermarket. Like as a plot device, it's not bad. Because it's like, oh, she was this smart scientist and now she's working in Food City or whatever. It's funny. But as terms of like what that person would be doing, that person would just be high in the middle of nowhere, probably dead. Like very likely overdosed on something and dead.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's ultimately what ended up
making
happening. That's ultimately what ended up happening anyways.
Yeah.
I wonder, and maybe you can give me some insight into this, and I want you to think about this for yourself as well.
Of course.
I wonder what my fundamental consumer profile type is.
Yeah, see that they brought in a little bit of Google for that, which was interesting. I did enjoy him getting offended when he was questioned.
Yeah.
Because a common thread between the very super elite rich is that they detest ever being questioned about anything. Like when Elon, when just the fact is brought up to Elon, these people that are going to Mars are never coming back and they're likely going to die. He gets very defensive and says, yeah, but it'll be a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
Or Warren Buffett, whenever he's asked about cryptocurrency, because he's been famously against it his whole career, and now it's looking like it's going to be a real thing.
Yeah.
Gets very bristled and angry, noticeably. Yeah. They don't like being questioned.
And now those two are like throwing shots at each other. Now Elon feels the need to be like, you know, Warren Buffett's life seems very boring. He like sits around and just like reads stuff. I'm like, okay, so Elon, anti-reading. Okay, that's an interesting point of view, but okay.
But this is the Elon. Anytime anybody's questioned him about one of his companies and about one of his aims, it's always been a very, very defensive. This, by the way, this full self-driving autopilot is another thing that he is like refusing to back down from at all. He just believes that it's the right thing to do, and it's like, it's not ready, and you can't call it
not
full
even
self.
close.
You can't call it autopilot if you don't expect people to take their hands off the wheel. You can't say, well, that's not how it's intended to be used. No, autopilot is actually, by definition, take your hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
And go to fucking sleep while your car drives you.
Yeah.
So while those people, I agree, are stupid for like going to sleep or reading a book in their Teslas, it's kind of what it's advertised to do.
I mean, are they stupid?
It's what it's advertised to do. Like now we know that's a dumb thing to do. But 2 years ago, if I had that car, I mean, I would have been doing that.
Absolutely. That one's a tough one for me because it's like, yeah, this thing can sense when a car is in front of me. It can sense when a car is next to me. It can center itself in a lane, and it can accelerate and decelerate based on the preferences that I set.
And it can change lanes for me.
Yeah. Why do I need to? And it somehow calculates the best route lane wise, and
autopilot actually, you can put in an address and it'll take you.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
So
I'm saying
like I'm not talking about the new update that came out like a year and a half ago. That one where it's like type in my address and go. Like it's hard to really blame people who were like, yeah, sorry, wasn't paying attention because my car was on autopilot.
I figured I didn't need to, and I figured me paying attention will only get in the thing's way. So yeah, you know, I'm over here.
These guys hate being questioned, and that scene was well done.
Yeah.
It was like very legitimate question. This guy was like, it's actually a lot like Zuckerberg, who whenever he is questioned about his invention or his ideas, bristles at the idea that what they're doing isn't perfect in some way.
So per our, per the earlier discussion of, they see it as the startup baby. I saw more Jack Dorsey just because I've seen more interviews where Jack Dorsey just got so incensed and just
He's
so
more available for
irritated
interviews, too.
Yeah. Well, he's not a top 10 billionaire. He's I think the last
He's
time I
the
checked,
cool
he's like
rich.
258.
No, he's the cool rich.
Yeah.
He's wearing like Yumas and
Which by the way,
ugliest fucking shoe on the planet.
I just have to say, why buy a Carryumo when you can buy an Allbirds? What?
Yeah,
you
we
can
are
buy an
sponsored by
Allbirds.
Allbirds. But at the same time,
take it with a grain of salt. But Jesus, guys.
Yeah. You guys made like the world's ugliest shoe. Congratulations. It's like those hatchback electric cars. It's like you're saving the planet, but why does it have to be like ugly as shit?
Why does it have to look just as bad as possible? Like I know you can make a sustainable shoe and make it look nice because Allbirds exist, which again, shout out. This is when we get the aforementioned Leo Oscar attempt. When he just goes off the rails.
I actually like this moment more than the critics did.
I loved it because with all of this crazy ass shit going on, if we want to say that this doctor at one time was not in this world and then got sucked into it, he's off sleeping with Cate Blanchett as opposed to going back to Minnesota, all that stuff. Like, it only makes sense that at some point he has a realization, oh, fuck, I need to kind of go back to center. I need to just like let it all out because this is batshit. This is absolutely batshit. And it only happens once he stops interacting with all the people in his normal everyday life. When he stops interacting with his wife, when he stops interacting with Jennifer Lawrence, when he stops interacting with the military guy, when he's only interacting with Cate Blanchett and, the Muppets, is when he realizes, oh, fuck, I'm part of the problem now. And so he goes on that show and loses it in only a way that Leonardo DiCaprio can, in a way that's it fits, is what I believe you're about to say.
Well, I thought I was going to say it felt like what he wanted to say at his Oscars acceptance speech.
Right.
Because at that speech, it was very measured. He clearly got up there. He knew he was going to win. Everybody knew he was going to win ahead of time. Yep. And wanted to talk about climate change. And I applaud him for that. And I think he wanted to get up and scream the way he did, that this isn't always fun. Not everything has to be fun. You are going to die. Yep. It is a mathematical certainty. Every scientist is in agreement on this. You need to do something to fix this if you can, because we might be past the point where it doesn't even matter.
Which, by the way, at that point, they probably were. Now Leo is the one with the bag over his head. A great moment. And then we get Leo driving, which I would imagine in Minnesota. Or no, we know back in Minnesota. He's back with his family. He still has his wife as his background. That was interesting.
Tough.
Didn't see that coming.
And I mean, he right after he says, "I literally don't care about sides," is part of his rant.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm actually at that point too. I really don't care about sides. I recognize that one is batshit crazy. That's about it.
Oh no, we talked about it last time. We're past the point of who we need to give credit to. We just need to get shit done. If we're not if we're gonna get shit done or we're not gonna get shit done, however we get to the point that we get shit done, let's do that. Let's do that one. I don't care how we do it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then he's playing country music when he's back in town to show what a regular Midwestern guy he is.
And then we get someone who I thought was going to be in more of the movie. Chris Evans. Doesn't look like him, but his voice is very distinct, especially if you're a Marvel fan. Again, Perfect. Exactly what we needed. Exactly the movie star that would be portrayed in this movie.
I mean, I keep saying this. That really is probably a top 3 moment in the entire movie for me, when they're doing the montage of Don't Look Up and Look Up, and Chris Evans just comes on and lets it fly and says, we need to do both, because that's exactly what Hollywood has basically been doing over the last couple of years while we've all been fighting. Is we just need to get along. It's like, fuck that. We're past the point of getting along. Like, we need to fix shit. We need to get stuff going in the right direction.
Getting along doesn't solve these problems. Getting along is easier for people that don't care, because then they have,
it doesn't affect.
Yeah, because then they don't have to hear about it anymore.
But the problem isn't going to go away if we all start singing Kumbaya. Like, shit has to get done.
So yeah, this is when we really, really get introduced to the just look up versus don't look up, which is, you know, obviously, at least for me, it was obvious that this was the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter.
That or the vaccine.
Okay. I think Adam McKay did an intentional. He made a decision to intentionally have this movie represent multiple social and political movements that we've had.
Although it is specifically about climate change.
Correct. Well, a comet really isn't climate change.
It's about climate change.
Yes. Again, yes, but
like 100%, it's not intended to necessarily be about anything other than climate change. Although climate change has just become a euphemism for the issue of the day, right? Because it became the strategy for every other issue, which was, that's your college mind educated opinion, and I don't have to subject myself to it. But that's how they approach everything now.
But there's not really a hashtag for each side. It's just kind of, you're either someone like us that wants us to do wants us to do progressive climate policy, and then there's the people that don't. Whereas with the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, you know, discussion or whatever you want to call it, there were literal hashtags. There was it got so simplified down that then the phrases took on completely different meanings than what their actual phrase means itself.
Yeah, but to me it's more like what the politicians themselves were embracing. I mean, Meryl Streep was embracing the slogan in a way that I think a lot of Republican politicians have, in terms of the anti-vax movement. Very notably, the former president has not embraced that. I have been endlessly surprised by that. But yeah, it could be a euphemism for any number of things. But Ariana Grande's song is hilarious.
That was my next note. I knew since they cast those two people and made them specifically movie stars, or musicians in the movie, that we were going to get some music montage, and we did, and it was actually really good. It was actually like really good music.
Wasn't bad.
Which, you know, it shouldn't be shocking that two music stars such as Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi would make good music, but for a movie where a lot of the lines were improvised, it was really good. It was really good. No thoughts.
No, I already said it was good. What do you want from me?
Gotcha.
You just want to go back and forth saying, oh, wow, that was good. Yeah, that was good, man. Yeah, it was good. It's great. It's good.
Hey, you know, maybe I need to listen more to my podcast host. There we go. I had this point in the movie was when I wrote down, I feel like I'm going to be defending this movie's genius for the rest of my life, because it was willing to do a million different things that most filmmakers just aren't willing to do.
It was willing to go further
than
I think they're usually willing to do.
It was so unbelievably partisan, and it was so...
Yeah, there was no question. It was like there was no quote unquote objective take, but that was part of the movie. There's no
Exactly.
objective take. You're going to die. There's a comet coming.
Yeah.
Half of you don't believe it, and half of you do.
And ultimately, the rich people are going to get on a spaceship and then get eaten alive by whatever fucking animal it is that shows up on the planet they land on. But, anyways, the most satisfying moment of the movie was when the comet is starting to literally be seen from the fucking Earth. And when they're at a Trump not at a Trump rally, but they were at a Trump rally. The guy looks up, they fucking lied to us. And then they start throwing shit at Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Easily the most satisfying part of the movie. Because literally it's right there. It's right there. Just literally just look up. It's right there. You'll see it.
I mean, unfortunately, not to bring the mood down too much, but these stories you hear of people in the ICU who are like, give me the vaccine.
It's heartbreaking.
And the doctors are like, no, it's too late. It's not going to do anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like when you're about to die, I don't give a shit if you read on Reddit that Bill Gates is trying to put a microchip in you or whatever shit. You're going to die.
5G is going to kill us all.
You're going to die because you didn't get this vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, and it's heartbreaking to read those stories. But when I saw that moment, I was like, yeah, when you're looking death in the face and you realize it's because you allowed yourself to be manipulated by people whose only aim is to have mental and emotional control over you. Yeah, it probably feels pretty shitty.
And then I also have noted here, Jonah Hill just isn't appreciated enough. He just isn't. The internet moments that he has are the moments when he's made fun of for his weight. Mostly. That's most of what his online presence is. He just isn't appreciated enough. Incredible actor.
I don't know about that.
Really? Okay. Well, agree to disagree. We anticipated a margin for error. The way that Isherwell says it, that might be the creepiest moment of the movie. Because the way that he said it was just so cold and calculated, and literally how I would imagine Elon would say it at that moment. Just
as the rocket's blowing up.
It's okay. We anticipated for this margin of error.
Way, through all of SpaceX, many, 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 many failures, that has been a recurring line.
Yep.
It's like, well, what did you expect? It's like, for it not to blow up. That's
and like, I guess fuck me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we find out his wife cheated too. So now
kind of wasn't it like in college or something?
A while ago, but
when they were dating, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
is it worse to date or is it worse to cheat when you're dating as opposed to married? Yeah, but cheating's still cheating. So,
you feel vindicated.
That was freeing for my guy. It really was. Right. And I would imagine, never mind. I'll leave it at that. Obviously the attempt, well, first we get the Russians, they tried to fix it. That didn't go well. That went terribly. And apparently it made it worse somehow. I don't know. But they send all the beads up there. Doesn't work. Just fails miserably. Impacts the Earth. Absolutely destroys it. And as they realize it's not going to work, Isherwell leaves. The president leaves. And who's left there? None other but Jonah Hill.
And Meryl Streep. Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then when she's on the ship, she's like, oh, he's still there. Oh, shit. Well, guess he's going to die. The mini house does have a nice moment, though. We get Leo. We get the military guy. I feel so bad that I can't think of his name. But the military guy and then Timothy Chalamet and Jennifer Lawrence, they're all, and Leo's children and wife, they're all having a nice moment. They're all talking about the nice things in life. And then they all die. Which, yeah. Makes sense. Though Leo and his wife were given tickets to ship out, which I'm just saying, like, who's filling those tickets? Maybe I would have thought that it would have been a kind of funny moment to send Timothy Chalamet and Jennifer Lawrence up there.
I just want to say, I think Leo, like in real life, probably has some sort of ticket like this.
Oh my God, that was gonna be my last question. That was gonna be my last question. If you could name the top 10 list of people that get on that ship, Leo's definitely one of them.
Yeah, like there's certain people who I think are rich but too stupid to take advantage of it.
Right.
Mainly like the Koch family.
Yeah.
But I sincerely believe that like rich people like Leo and Elon have definitely come together and formulated some sort of ship to just kind of wait this whole thing out.
I think Zuckerberg has been in the metaverse for long enough now where he doesn't remember what the difference is between virtual and normal reality.
So weird.
I don't think Zuckerberg has a ticket because I don't think he realizes that climate change. I think he's thinking of climate change in the sense of, well, we don't have it in the metaverse, so I'll be safe, because he's now hit the level of just batshit insane. Though obviously intelligent in what he does, but leaves Jonah Hill behind. Mindy House dies. Ron Perlman. They're not going to take me alive. I'm going to take every gun I own and I'm going to shoot the comet.
I actually enjoyed that too, because I know at the fringes, there will still be people as that comet's coming.
Yes.
Who will say bullshit.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's the government.
And then we see the rich people have a ship. They get to some other planet that at first was like, oh, this might work. And then, as was
Can you
foreshadowed,
imagine what a shitty society that would be, though, if it was like Meryl Streep and that
Isherwell
guy
and
like
just a bunch
making
of
children?
Oh, and they had,
that sounds horrible.
Yeah, and they had all like businesses that all the different people worked for, and just this bank, this investment group, this whatever. Just that sounds about right. Meryl Streep gets eaten in the way that Isherwell said that she was going to get eaten, when he's just like, yeah, we have no idea what that means, but that's what we have. So, deal with that as you will. And then we find out Jonah Hill's still alive. He's the last man on Earth, and somehow his phone still works. He wants to post it to everybody, even though, as he said, I'm the last person living on Earth. So the movie ended very fittingly. Jonah Hill still just being a moron. Meryl Streep gets killed by some bird. And then what I like to think is that the birds ate all the rest of the people and human civilization ceases to exist. With Jonah Hill just yelling into a vacuum. That's
too stupid to solve the problem when we still had the chance.
This is how I wish Game of Thrones ended. Where, you know what, motherfuckers? You're not going to work together? Okay. You're fucked then. You're going to die. This problem required you all to deal with it, to come together and see that there's a larger purpose. You didn't. Okay. You're all going to die. So I was happy about the ending. Not going to lie. Who is your Brandy the Dog MVP?
It's got to be J-Law.
Okay.
Because she plays the role that I'd be playing if I was a scientist, which is you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're sitting here wasting another second on whatever bullshit it is you want to talk about. You're all gonna die.
And unsurprisingly, mine's Jonah. He's to say that he's Dion Waiters coming off the bench hitting threes. He's in a lot of the movie. He's probably in 35-40% of the movie. He's perfect. He's in it from beginning to end. He hits the right note every time. He's on Molly when the launch happens. He's just all over the place. Let's see. Favorite quote? Mine's definitely "Time the Molly just right."
And us, the cool rich,
Yeah. Okay.
Still my
Yeah.
favorite.
Who would you want to be? Well, you just said Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Who would I mean, I don't want to be here. I just know that that's
Oh,
who I am.
that's okay. That's fair. Who would you want to be?
I mean, Isherwell might have gotten out of this alive. So my biggest thing is
you want to still be alive?
I want to live.
No.
I want to live on.
No.
I want to keep going. So, and he seems pretty rich and well-to-do. He's on the platinum diamond plan. Would love to have that kind of influence.
Platinum Eagle plan.
Platinum Eagle over a president. Would love to have that kind of influence over the president of the United States. So, yeah.
I'd want to be Timothy Chalamet because are you kidding me? I get to die with Jennifer Lawrence. Absolutely.
Yeah, that doesn't sound that great.
Really? You don't think
his life doesn't sound that great.
In the movie, though, seems okay. Well, motherfucker. I mean, Leo's kid that got the 172. That's pretty solid.
It's not
pretty
bad.
solid. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. I think there's just one left, right?
Yeah, but this one's tough because usually we're not dealing with an evil, conniving politician who's ignoring facts that they know to be true, in favor of holding on to political power.
Oh, hold on. Limbo lesson.
We're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. Because what made this movie sad is that
this is exactly what we're doing.
Oh, that's what would happen. It would instantly become politicized. We would instantly have debates, even though the people who study this for a living were universally saying the same thing.
Yep.
We would still hold on to the 0.03% of those folks who were not in lockstep with the other 99.7, and we'd find a way to bitch at each other for it.
Mine is winter's coming. Like, we really need to fucking figure this out. We really do.
Got news for you.
Like, I don't know how, I don't know if we can. It doesn't appear as though we can, and it appears as though it's too late. But y'all, we need to figure this out. We really do. And I don't even know really what this is. If it's climate change, if it's this whole pandemic, if it's income inequality, if it's racial injustice, and any number of things. Maybe it's everything.
We can't get people to get behind vaccines, which are like old technology.
Yeah.
You're not going to solve climate change unless you change the filibuster rules. That's the only way, because other than outside of that, like, you're never going to have a 2/3 or 60-40 majority again that's going to be able to put past the kinds of things that we need to get done, because because you actually need more than 60-40, because guaranteed there's going to be more than just one cinema and one mansion out of those 60.
Okay, now I'm bummed out.
Yeah.
So Ted Cruz Award. Who are we giving it to?
I mean, it's clearly the president who is the stand-in for the U.S. government, and how one side would treat any existential threat. This has been the saddest thing that we've learned over the last 2 years, is that existential threats are no longer just existential threats. They're political moments to be used, manipulated, and stretched to one's own views as to who should be in charge.
As you and I have always joked, if I die and it can be used to our political advantage, politicize the shit out of it, please. I give you full permission.
That's what it's become. We had this whole event that I think if you told people 3 years ago, hey, this is going to happen, I think most people would be like, oh, wow, that'll probably bring the country together to kind of fight this common enemy that we have no control. No, didn't happen. Didn't happen. So that's I think with all the major issues going forward, including apparently voting rights. These are the fights that we're going to have.
Tim, we're being a bummer. We're being a bummer right now. We did the political podcast last time. And I think more just selfishly, you're bumming me the fuck out.
Yeah, well, it's reality.
My Ted Cruz award goes to Isherwell because it just looks like that's what he needs. I think if
it wasn't bullied enough.
I
get
I think if at some point in this movie he just got punched in the jaw, he might start rethinking things. Who knows? Maybe not. Or maybe it would just feel really good for whoever ends up getting to punch him in the jaw. Who knows? Now, would you rather punch them or Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz is doing what Meryl Streep is doing in the movie in my real life. So it's gonna be him.
Right. Same. Ted Cruz all the way. I think that's a podcast, Tim. What do you think? Got anything else to say about the movie?
Good enough for who it's for.
Good enough for free content, right? They can find me at tfelix3412. They can find you at tleduc32. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. As I said, love this movie. I think it should have at a minimum be at like 88%. Because that's where Ant-Man and the fucking Wasp is. So
Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah, well, I've now officially added this movie to the list of Interstellar of allow me to be the mouthpiece for defending it. Ironically enough, Timothée Chalamet's in both of them, so there you go. Don't know what you're gonna hear from us next, but we'll be there. What do you think we are gonna be doing next, Tim?
I have no idea, but we'll have a microphone in front of us and we'll be talking very loudly into them.
And we're going to be charging the exact same amount for it. So thank you guys so much for listening. Peter Isherwell, that Supreme Court nominee porn star, the president in this movie, Elon Musk, all the other rich people that are keeping us from being able to have enough tax revenue to get shit done. And all the people that are, of course, keeping the tax policy from changing so that we could have all the money to get shit done. And, of course, Ted Cruz, please go fuck yourself. Ellis Monroe, please play us out.
One day, someday, fiction girl. She's my one day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Gotta have it, gonna call her baby. One day, someday, she's gonna call me baby. Gonna have a family. I can see it in her eyes. Our future's so, so bright. Gonna wake up by his side. One day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Fiction girl. She's my one day, someday.